Right, we'll take our attention to the German Bundesliga, which has been buzzing with a lot of action this week. At the beginning of the 2022-2023 season, Bayern Munich acquired the services of the vibrant, energetic, and youthful RB Leipzig coach Julian Nagelsmann. Now, after 37 games, 112 goals, and 3 losses, Julian Nagelsmann was fired earlier this week, and it's quite surprising because he topped a group with Inter Milan and Barcelona with 18 points in the Champions League. He defeated PSG without conceding a single goal, and Bayern Munich are alive in all 3 competitions. That's the DFB Pokal, the Champions League, and the Bundesliga also. And maybe you ask yourself, why was he sacked? Maybe it's because they had 5 wins in 10 games in the Bundesliga in this 2023, and their current 52 points is their worst run since they didn't win the trophy in the 2011-2012 season. So this is quite a reminiscence of what happened a few years ago. Now, former Chelsea boss Thomas Tuchel has taken over, and his first game is Bayern's most important game of the season, the Klassiker against Dortmund, who lead the table by a single point. Now, we've been joined by Danya Barsalona, a football reporter in Germany, to preview the game and give further updates on the happenings in Bavaria. Hello, Danya. Good evening. Welcome to Newsnight on JH1 TV.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Okay, now, how are the fans taking the sacking of Nagelsmann and the appointment of Tuchel? Have the fans recovered from the shock of Nagelsmann's sacking?
Well, I'm not sure that they've recovered from the shock yet. Like you said, everyone was really not expecting Bayern to really fire Nagelsmann and just before their Klassiker. So, I mean, there's been a lot of mixed opinions in Germany. Of course, Tuchel is one of the brightest minds in football, so it's not a bad appointment, but a lot of Bayern fans had come to really love Nagelsmann, and like you said before, he was doing well. Bayern are still alive in all 3 competitions, so they did even have the chance to win the treble. So, shock, but also a little bit of uncertainty and a little bit of excitement.
So now, are we able to tell why Nagelsmann was sacked?
Well, so it was a mixture of reasons. Now, first and foremost, there were some players on Bayern that were maybe not so happy with Nagelsmann at this point. I mean, we know Manuel Neuer and the firing of his goalkeeper coach that really put a rupture in their relationship. Muller as well. A lot of players had criticized his training style and how he would coach them from the pitch. There was also rumors about his relationship with a former Bild reporter, some leaks in the locker room. It was a mixture of things, and also the fact that Bayern Munich really did not want to miss this opportunity to get Thomas Tuchel as their head coach because he does not stay available for very long.
Okay, what's the mood at Bayern after the sacking of Nagelsmann, and how is the team adapting to Thomas Tuchel's philosophy and his work ethics?
Well, I mean, there were some players that really liked Nagelsmann. Kimmich, Goretzka, for example. You know, Kimmich told us, he said that Nagelsmann was one of his top 3 coaches, and he's been coached by some very, very top-level coaches in his career. Now, other players were not so keen, so I mean, Bayern is really going to have to come together as a squad right now because Tuchel has only had about 5 days in charge of the team, and they now are going to come up against Dortmund in what is probably the biggest game of the season. But if any team is capable to get a result under these kinds of circumstances, it's serial champions Bayern. They know how to get results. They know how to play when things get difficult. And ultimately, if anybody can cope with this kind of pressure, it's Bayern.
Now, let's focus on the Der Klassiker. Bayern throw by a point. Now, will the international break affect the outcome of the game tomorrow?
I mean, it could, but the players are so experienced at this point, they're used to competing in multiple competitions, that it shouldn't play that much of a role. I think the most important thing is the change of coach just before their Klassiker. Now, Tuchel, of course, he is a very experienced coach, like we said, one of the brightest football minds, and he probably won't make so many changes so that things won't be too different before they face Dortmund. Now, Bayern, they have not been extremely poor, so there's not so much to fix. They've just been a little bit inconsistent. And for Bayern, that is absolutely unacceptable to be inconsistent.
Now, with rumors of Anthony Barry looking to join Bayern Munich, we heard that report earlier today. Graham Potter even spoke about it. Will we see Bayern Munich raid West London for players like Havertz and Mount in the summer?
Well, I mean, we know that Tuchel is a big fan of Mason Now, Kai Havertz, of course, German. He's got some German national team mates on Bayern already. So it wouldn't be surprising. But then again, Bayern is also not a club that goes and splashes around extreme amounts of money like other clubs like a Man City. So, I mean, there might be a few players who are tempted to join Bayern. Of course, it doesn't take much convincing to get a top quality player at a club like Bayern Munich. But I don't think we're going to see Bayern breaking extreme bank to get a lot of different players into their Munich side, which is already full of extraordinary talent already.
I'm curious to know what exactly is it about Bayern that convinces all players, all German players, to move to Germany. We saw Leroy Sané come to City and he was a very important player, but when Bayern came calling, he went. We also saw Havertz saying that if Bayern comes, it's very likely you go. What's it at Bayern that convinces players to come?
Well, I mean, Bayern is prestige. You go to Bayern because you know that you will win something. They have created such a winning mentality where, you know, they've trailed the Bundesliga by 1 point and they've sacked their coach because for them, the possibility of not winning is just not good enough. You know, they've won the last 10 Bundesliga titles in a row. They are always challenging for the Champions League. So you go to Bayern and there is the promise of trophies, but also that level of excellence that is always there. Top quality coaches, top quality players, and just a winning mentality. So, I mean, it's very attractive, especially if you are a German player. You can play in your home country, in your own language, and challenge for every title possible.
Okay, we heard the honorary president of Bayern Munich speak about the fact that the 50% plus one rule must be abolished. What's the latest with that?
Oh, 50 plus 1. How much time do we have? Because 50 plus 1 rule is a very hot topic in Germany. So there's a lot of people that think that 50 plus 1 rule really preserves the soul of German football because the fans in Germany are so important, and the 50 plus 1 rule is what really gives them a say in their club. Now, other clubs see it as something that hinders the Bundesliga's ability to compete with other big European clubs because you won't see those American